In nomine Patri, Filii, Spiritus Sancti. Amen. Hi everybody, welcome back to another Watch Talk. I'm here with my co-host, the KOV, Jasper. How are you doing today?
Very fine, sir.
Good to hear, good to hear. So guys, and ladies, of course, can't forget, we're coming to the end of 2024 and we've had quite the amazing year.
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea we look back at the most cool pieces we've sold.
Yeah.
Yeah. Starting off with, of course, a wrist check. KOV, what are you wearing today?
Yeah, so for this video, I decided to wear a watch that I haven't owned before. So 2024 also marked the year for many firsts.
Absolutely.
And one of the many firsts was the JCK. So the 6036 is on my wrist, a stainless steel variant that we were very happy to acquire, I think 2 or 3 months ago from a Portuguese gentleman.
Yeah.
It's the French execution. So it says Cosmographe with an E on the end and anti-magnetic. Pretty cool, and I paired it with a blue strap just for the occasion. This would make perhaps my top 5 if we would have sold it in 2024. But I'm sure we'll find a new owner for it in 2025. How about yours?
Today I'm wearing also a watch we haven't sold yet, but
we haven't listed yet.
We haven't listed even yet.
Yeah,
exactly. I'm not sure if we're going to do that this year.
Perhaps. Let's enjoy it a little bit more. But
exactly.
if you, for our viewers, if you're interested, you can already reach out.
Exactly. It's going to be first on YouTube right here. The 1803 Day-Date Stella with the salmon color, if I can call it that, pinkish salmon color. And if you look at the bracelet, my God. Some people hate it. You got to love it. I absolutely adore it. It complements this piece amazingly.
Yeah.
A brick type of bracelet.
Super cool watch.
Great condition, amazing piece, very rare color. Make sure you stay tuned when that hits the website. Let's start with the top 5.
Yeah, so we both jotted a top 5.
Curious to see yours.
Hopefully we don't have many watches that are on
the
both
same
lists,
oh, yeah.
But we'll see. I don't think this one will make your top 5, but personally it is important to me starting off with a 5582. Probably you've never heard of the reference, even though you're saying, like, oh yeah, that's a watch I know.
I haven't.
Because
you played yourself.
To the best of my knowledge, there's only 2 of them. It is the Audemars Piguet Canchen Perpetuel.
Of course, the skeleton.
Exactly, the skeletonized one with an integrated bracelet, intricately made with diamond setting.
It was a crazy
super cool watch, very nice for the holidays, I would say. We sold it first time around in 2021, 2022 perhaps.
You guys had it before, right?
Yeah, and I loved it so dearly. Decided to buy it back. Enjoyed it a while, then put it up for sale. And I was under the impression that it was a unique piece, that it was the only one, because I couldn't find a single other. And then I was in this camera shop in Japan on my trip. And all of a sudden, between Birkin bags and cameras and lenses, I saw another 5582. So apparently there are at least 2.
Yeah, true.
And that's perhaps the reason why I decided to sell it. And I let it go via Monaco Legends Group. It sold at reach like all-in price of 100K or so.
Something like that.
Which I think is very fair. It's the least valuable in my list, I can already tell you that. But personally, it was very valuable because I have this journey with it for like 4 years.
It was the thinnest perpetual calendar.
Yeah, I the APQP.
Amongst the APQP, yes.
Yeah, automatic perpetual calendar.
Excuse me, absolutely.
But yeah, that was a beautiful watch, and I love to have it. And I had it twice. I had the opportunity to enjoy it for a while. And it found a good new home, so happy ending.
And that bracelet was, the craftsmanship that went into that was amazing. The diamonds and the links, and that must have taken a long time.
It was a true beauty.
Absolutely.
How about yours?
My number 5 is, I'm sure you'll love it as well, is the reference 6098. We've had another one, but this one in yellow gold, and the Galaxy, of course, with the stellene dial. What I find is a lot of people praise the black dial variant, but
Yeah,
I
so
would
one
like
recently sold, obviously.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what I would like to counter with that, why I love the white dial, first of all, we had it. Secondly, it has the honeycomb pattern on the dial.
Unlike the black one.
Exactly. The black one doesn't have that. And
True.
I really, like, we love honeycomb dials. We have a nice
Yeah.
selection of honeycomb dials in our catalog always.
But are you referring to the 6098 in gold or the stainless
The yellow
steel one?
gold. No,
the yellow
exactly,
gold.
the yellow gold.
Okay.
Because we recently sold the stainless steel one.
Yeah, so why would you opt for the gold one over the... I'm with you there, honestly, but why your choice for the gold one?
Like I said, I do love yellow gold. I like the contrast between the creamy white. The dial of that one also had a little creamy color discoloration. The whole harmony with the Jubilee bracelet.
But on the steel one, what I enjoy is that it does have gold markers. Yet, this Galaxy, which is just a variant of the 6098, so the 6098, when introduced, was more a robust tool watch kind of thingy.
Predecessor of the
Explorer.
Yeah.
And they made this luxurious variant called the Galaxy, which is not a nickname. Rolex actually listed it
That's the
as
official
a Galaxy.
name, true.
So therefore, I think it suits better to be executed in yellow gold because it is already like a luxurious, elegant take on the robust 6098.
Exactly.
So then
That's
it's
a good
better
argument.
executed in gold
Yeah.
for me.
That's a good argument for sure.
Both are very cool, and the stainless steel one, I had my preference because of the bracelet, like the straight Enling Gayfer bracelet.
The Gayfer, right?
That's
that was
cool.
That was stunning.
Yeah.
We sold that only last week, I think. Right? Yeah.
Yeah, I found a home rather recently. New home.
Yeah.
Not to the same buyer, by the way.
No. True.
Up next for me is the 2497. I had a hard time choosing because I wanted to have like my list is based on also staples in our collection. So I don't want to only include like Stella dials or stone dials. I want to have a Patek vintage one. I want to have an AP in there. And I chose for the 2497 over, for example, the 2526 we just sold.
Yeah.
We had the 1579 earlier this year, which is a chronograph with a nicely faceted lugs.
Yeah.
Also very enjoyable model.
And the 3448.
3448, I forgot that one actually.
We also had that
3448
one.
was great. But still, I would rather opt for the 2497. Did we sell the road time this year? Or was that last year?
Oh, the 1415.
1415.
We did sell that this year. Yeah, true.
But still, I would go for the 2497.
The 1415, I totally forgot about that
Yeah,
one. That's also a
Or the
first.
Gilles Barrel Bear is also a dress watch we've had
Jesus,
by AP.
true.
Yeah, by Patek. It was a strong year. for
Yeah,
dress
very,
watches.
very cool. Yeah, absolutely.
But the 2497 made the way to the top 5, mainly because the condition was so strong. It was a Fichet case, so the
Impeccable
first
condition.
series one.
Yeah.
And they only made like 70 of those.
Isn't the 2497, if I'm not mistaken, also a first in the Patek? A first automatic?
Yes, with central seconds. So you had the 2497 and the 2438, which is also a central second Audemars Patek Philippe perpetual calendar. Last mentioned has a waterproof case.
That was it, the waterproof
And
difference,
we've also sold one of those, but at this moment we can't disclose about this yet.
True. That's a really special one, yeah.
But the 2497 first series has a flat case back, and Fichet case is a little bit like elongated lugs compared to the later Bang Air case. So this 2497 was very, very opulent wristwatch and very charming,
And a
therefore
legend. Just
a
a
legend for
legendary
sure.
piece, yeah.
Therefore, it made its way to my top 5.
Good, good. So number 4 for me is, as I started off with the Rolex, I'm going to still continue with the Rolex. I don't have that much variety, but most definitely one of the nicest iterations I've seen, and the first I have seen this year, is our 1601-9 white gold Datejust with the lapis dial. That execution we had, I don't know what it was, but it had this nice little, we almost called it like a tiger type of fade amongst the stripes, amongst the lapis stone.
Yeah.
Sold it to a wonderful client of ours. Amazing piece. I definitely feel that belongs in my top 5.
Yeah,
So
the
it's a
canvas
strong
of that
four.
watch was spectacular because we've had quite some 1601-9s with lapis.
Yeah, like the larger...
3 or 4?
4, I believe.
Yeah. So that's almost like half the
All
market.
we've seen on the market, yeah.
I guess
was
so.
about to say.
But I have to be honest, that one probably is my favorite one too. It was very bright, very vivid color. On a Jubilee bracelet, which I prefer too on a Datejust. In white gold, the
Absolutely.
Jubilees are so nice.
Absolutely.
And it was a good watch.
And like you say, like all the stone dials are canvas on its own because they come straight out of the ground. They're cut out of a piece that is unique in every way, and that canvas was, like you said, couldn't agree more.
I did
stunning.
a Hodinkee radio episode on stone dials, alongside a friend of mine from Hairspring Watches, Eric.
Yeah.
So you might want to check out that video too, where we elaborate a little bit more on the stone dials. And we made a video ourselves too, right?
About stone dials, exactly. Yeah. About how they look, which varieties you have.
So it was another strong year for stone dials. A little bit of volatility in the market, I have to say, but it was a cool experience to have this watch and many more this year. And I hope to continue
crazy
next year with
dials.
those watches.
Yeah, absolutely. Number
So,
3.
I'm going back to Rolex again. No, this is my first Rolex actually. I had a hard time choosing between the 18068 and the 18058. The 18068 we had was the ruby set one with the red discs, a pavé dial with the ruby markers.
That was insane.
But I chose that one because of its rarity. There are only 7 known. And unique to the reference is the ruby set bezel, whilst the 18058 not necessarily has a sapphire bezel.
It also has the rainbow.
For example. Princess cuts. But gem set Rolex has performed very well with us, and we like them ourselves. Yeah. So that kind of helps too.
I would have picked the 18058 actually. Now that you mention it, the blue one, absolutely. I do love that
aesthetically,
one.
Perhaps blue is easier also to wear.
I guess so, yeah.
But the rarity wins it again with me over the aesthetics.
Because that reference is specifically to the rubies, the 18068.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's why I chose it. And I was also contemplating to include the 18346 with the disco ball. Remember that one?
The platinum one.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. That also, okay, color-wise, which is not as...
Yeah, but I think the dial is unique.
The dial is at the disco ball dial?
I've never seen it before, apart from 2 years ago when we also owned it. So we bought it back again. And we found a new client for it.
And it had the red day and date, right?
No, that's not on the disco ball. The red date. Oh yeah. But I included the discs.
Oh,
so the first time around, they didn't have this day and date disc. Oh. But these were like prototypes made by Baylor with a red, not red background like the 18068.
Oh, yeah, true. They had
just
the background,
a red, just a red printing, and it was supposed to be made for like the 50 or 60 year anniversary of the day date, but they never produced it like in quantity.
That was a nice hint to the whole the canvas. Absolutely,
was very fun.
Yeah,
but you're right in saying perhaps the 18346 deserves a spot there because it's really unique, and I'm pretty sure in my lifetime I'm gonna sell another 18068, or for that matter 18058. Another gem set watch that I want to include, I'm gonna
go ahead. Absolutely, do it.
Has to be the 18568, which is the Zenith Daytona.
Oh, jeez, that
with
one.
The pavé dial, silver pavé dial, not the service dial. There are many service dials around, but this is the original dial
with the green,
with the green markers, but also with the like more finely ridges in the seconds in the sub dials. That is significant for the original production dials as opposed to the service dials. And this watch was very cool. It found its way to a good friend of mine. So we had to let it go. But
one of my favorite Daytonas we've seen here.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It deserves an honorable mention.
I forgot about a lot of watches. Yeah, for sure.
Well,
so
remind me of the number 3, which is very painful. I can see it here.
Exactly. I had to write it down. I had to pick this one. I know it's your prized. It was your prized possession. You let it go to a very good client of ours. So it has a very, very good home. So continue on the Daytona spectrum. The 6239 MK1 Paul Newman.
Yeah.
That dial, that case, the bracelet, everything was so perfect. As a first Paul Newman, like the first of the exotic dial iterations there were, the pump pushers, everything about this, the tricolore, the white T, Swiss T, or large, I think it's called in the amongst the collectors. Amazing piece.
Yeah, 300 UPH bezel, the thin the thin second hand
on the left
sub dial. Was a very nice watch. I enjoyed it dearly for I think 2 years or so, and I met a client.
I've known it since the start I was here.
Yeah, exactly.
It's always been around.
I wore the watch a lot, but we had a client who was making its way into the vintage Rolex world, and he came from modern Patek, complicated Pateks, perpetual calendar, split seconds, minute repeaters, and he wanted to start with vintage Rolex, and for him, it was a good beginning to get the 6239. Well, he came here to have a cup of coffee, and we spoke about watches, and I showed him the beauty of vintage Rolex, because he said, yeah, I was always into vintage complicated Pateks, because Rolex was too ordinary for me. But then I discovered vintage and how special that is.
Absolutely.
So I showed him like a variety of vintage Rolexes, and immediately he knew the Paul Newman Daytona. So he's like, oh, that's a Paul Newman, right? He's like, oh yeah, you know a little bit of it. He's like, yeah, I like it, and blah, blah, blah. And he asked me what the production year was, and I told him 1967, and he said, well, that's
true.
That's my birth year.
I forgot about that.
Can I please purchase it from you? And I was a little bit reluctant to let it go. But we started our relationship there, and since then, which is like 4 months, 5 months ago, he bought multiple
crazy watches, beautiful
including
watches.
The 6263 MK1 Paul Newman,
Crazy piece.
which you didn't list, but it's better to list the 6239.
Yeah.
So he also bought a 6263 Paul Newman. So this guy's making rapid steps.
You do notice that kind of, like you mentioned, people that collect modern watches and they get to know about the world of vintage.
Yeah.
Only then they discover how large and limited the variety is among some pieces. Then you really see the craftsmanship.
How large and limited the variety is?
Which I mean is like there's a lot of variety, and each variety there's not that many.
Ah, okay, yeah.
Right? Yeah, maybe the wrong choice of words. But in that way, it's really nice to see modern collectors coming into the vintage world, and what a piece to start your collection with.
I think
6239 for sure.
He was also looking for a 6538, but we
unfortunately,
just sold it. I was super happy to get that watch because it's the first 6538 we've ever had. Reason being not that we dislike this model, we love them, but 90% of them are
Frankensteins were put together.
Just bad condition stuff or put together watches. And this watch is an amazing example. It had a beautiful brownish hue on the
that little fade on the bottom was insane.
So good.
That was so cool.
And it was a fun story how we got the watch in the end. Rutger
we were all there.
From an art dealer, and the story sounded kind of iffy.
We're like,
it was a little bit sketchy.
Too good to be true or something.
And then our friend Gilles from Artisan du Temps, because the watch was over at a watchmaker, he told us in Brussels.
Yeah.
We know Gilles very well, great guy. And we reached out to him to confirm the story, and the story was absolutely legit.
Yeah.
The watch was amazing. And we
paid a hefty price for it, but...
Hefty price, but if you compare it to some other auction results, it's pretty fair.
Agreed, yeah.
And we quickly found a new owner, and he's
straight away
been a friend from the company for like 4 or 5 years anyways.
Amazing, yeah.
So I was happy to let it go to him also because I'm not a big Submariner guy myself. I don't really wear them. But this...
That's
I have
your
to
number,
give this an exception because this is my number 2.
That's
it
your number 2.
So spectacular.
The big crown.
And yeah, a 2-liner big crown. It's just very, very pretty.
Yeah,
pretty
absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Coming to my number 2, it's a piece. It's a piece. We found a great collector similar to you, who has evolved a great taste in collecting, and had a good contact with him. And I sold him a very, very cool piece that in my world is one of my all-time favorites from Patek Philippe, the 5004.
You sold him like 4 watches in the past month.
Absolutely. He's a great collector, has a very, very refined taste, and this execution, 5004, that makes me... Yeah, actually makes me... Oh, shoot. Your client also purchased a 5004.
Yeah, the 5004R with the black dial.
That was crazy,
We sold 4 5004s.
Oh, and the white, the Opaline.
The white dial, Opaline dial. We sold the yellow gold one earlier this year to Watch Clock. I'm pretty sure it was this year. Perhaps the 5004J was last year.
Jesus, yeah.
But other than that, we have quite some clientele looking for these.
I didn't really do my due diligence on the past year. There's so many pieces I kind of missed.
Yeah, but the 5004R that I got for my client, it was sourced, so I went straight to him.
Still an amazing
It was amazing, but we only had it here for like 2-3 days, so I don't judge you for forgetting about the watch.
Yeah, so I'm gonna pick the platinum, the black one with the Arabic numerals. Went to a wonderful home.
Because that watch we've had for quite a while.
We've had it for quite a while.
Also the second time around. So we sold it first time around in 2020, I believe, and it's actually the buying process of that watch is enclosed in our documentary we did on Videoland, where Rutger is flying to Andrea Foffi, to purchase that watch.
And we bought it sealed, right?
And we bought it back, and now it's find a new owner again.
Exactly.
So some boomerangs is what we call them on the list. But those are always nice to see back, watches like those.
For sure. And you're number 2.
I already
you did your number 2. Exactly.
My number 1 has to be...
Curious.
The Vacheron Constantin 222.
Oh, absolutely.
The white gold. So the 44-518 was one of the most exciting journeys we've had in the history of Amsterdam.
The story of that is just too It's perfect.
Yeah, let me keep it brief. But we had a client who purchased two 44018s from us, so two 222s, one in yellow gold and one in stainless steel. And he really wanted the white gold one that went under the hammer at Philips in 2021.
That one.
And he was willing to splurge like 250k-ish on it.
Yeah.
But it went for 500k because it was supposedly a piece unique.
Which Vacheron even made a document
Yeah,
about.
it said on their archive, like, to the best of our knowledge, this is the only execution in white gold.
Yeah.
But it was disclosed that it had a changed dial to a blue dial, and the bezel was like the regular bezel, whilst actually this reference number 44518 is supposed to have a diamond bezel and white dial with diamond setting.
Oh.
So the one we got offered has
Ours did.
this configuration, and we got it offered via a esteemed South American family,
From the first owner. Yeah.
first owner, even with all the paperwork, like communication.
Even the letter, the note, everything.
This gentleman
was
buying
crazy.
this watch from Vacheron back in the days, and we've been in contact for many weeks. Being able finally to close this deal, I'm very proud we are able, and that we could find our client a similar watch that he was looking to buy. I'm not sure if the guy who paid this exorbitant amount of over 500,000 euro for the other one in the auction is happy that they found the second one.
Yeah.
He has seen that one.
Oh, has he? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Of course. Yeah.
Because
True.
a friend of ours told us.
It's
well,
crazy.
it's a long story, but for sure it's great to find this watch that Vacheron even didn't know existed, and we located it. Well, actually, the watch located us.
Yeah. True.
So fair play, but I think our marketing department worked well.
Very well.
She found us all the way over in Amsterdam. Her sister lived here apparently. But yeah, that was a great story.
The coolest thing about that, though, I have to mention is that the note that they said, you know, we promised you the price of $10,000, and we have to admit the production has ended up being more expensive, but we want to keep our word, so you can buy it for 10K.
Yeah,
that is so cool that a brand
just quirky
keeps their word. Yeah, different times.
Your number one?
My number one, I know you know this one. It is. I was just wowed when we got it. It was just the specialty, the rareness, everything, the condition of that one. Again, a Rolex. I'm a big Rolex guy.
So cool.
1804 platinum with the blue, I call it Côte d'Azur Stella dial.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about that one, you actually told me, I'm learning here every day, the big diamonds. Yeah. The big diamonds on it were so crazy. And also the collector that bought it from us, you know.
It's the same guy who bought the 6538. Imagine a 6538 and an 1804 Stella. They're quite far apart.
Yeah, different.
In style. Went to the same home. But yeah, I've only seen two other Stella dials with the bigger diamonds. The bigger diamonds are
specifically
characteristic for platinum.
Yeah.
But usually, you don't, at least I've nearly never saw them on a Stella dial, the bigger diamonds, but this one did have bigger diamonds.
And it's so cool that he had the exact configuration only in white gold with the smaller diamonds. And it's such a perfect story for me that you trade this one in, because he traded that one in with us and acquired the platinum one.
Yeah.
It's like you hit the finish line with that one.
The other 1803, so the white gold we still have, and it's, no, I sold it last week.
Oh yeah, true, you sold it with the
white gold one.
True.
So that's sold too, apparently. But we have a lot of cool Stella dials coming.
Yeah,
still,
absolutely. This one for sure. Yeah, gotta stay tuned to see this one, guys, especially with the bracelet. Crazy.
Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed our top 5 lists.
Yeah.
We had a couple similarities.
Yeah, true.
Or complementing each other. Please make sure to subscribe to our channel so you will see another cool set of watches in the new year too.
Absolutely.
I'm pretty sure we're going to top this list in 2025.
We have to. That's our goal. That's our goal. We got to.
And secondly, also let us know in the comments which of these 10 watches that we discussed, or some of the other watches that we mentioned, like the 3448 you reminded me about.
True.
Or other watches you've seen on our website or Instagram that you preferred. Let us know in the comments what's your top pick for 2024.
And what you want to see. What you want to see in the next videos.
Fair play.
Yeah, because we're back. We're going to do these watch talks. Guys, like we said, thanks for subscribing. Thanks for watching. Comment down below, hit that like button, and we see you soon.
And Merry Christmas already.
Merry Christmas.